to give my yes to you today. I choose.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, the 7th of October, and I've got a lunga here with a crema. It's a good cup of coffee. If you have your Bibles, turn to Genesis 6, verse 5. Genesis says, verse 5, Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. It's a pretty negative verse. It's pretty condemning, and it reminds us of the essence of sin in our lives, the real problem of sin in our lives and what sin does to our lives. It doesn't just make us guilty before a holy God. It renders it impossible for us to live a life that is pleasing to that holy God. Sin doesn't just make us guilty. It disqualifies us. It makes us useless in righteous living. We can't choose to live righteously. And you know, the things that rule a person's life, there's three basic things. The first is, what do I worship? What's important to me? What do I factor in and focus on the most? Firstly, what's my worship attitude in every day? Who am I worshiping, or what am I worshiping in every day? That determines life choices and lifestyle. Secondly, what rules do I impose on myself? What rules do I believe in and live out, live according to? Because we all know the speed limit, and we know where the speed cops are going to sit. So we obey the rules, we obey the speed limit where we know there may be a trap, there may be a camera, there may be a speed or law enforcement officer. But as soon as we know it's an open stretch and there's no hope that they're going to be around, then we put foot in the hook. And it's the same with all of life. What rules do you impose on yourself? Not what rules does life impose on you. What rules do you impose on yourself? That determines how you live. And then thirdly, what purpose are you giving yourself to? What calling are you living for? So what do I worship? What rules do I impose on myself? And what's my purpose? What is my passion? What do I live for? Some of us go to work in order to get a paycheck. Some of us go to work in order to make a difference. Some of us go to work because we believe in that which we do every day, and we go with joy. We go with purpose. We go with passion into every day. But you see, those things all need to be centered on God. And it's God that releases us by His sent His Son to buy us free from every intent of the thoughts of his heart was always only evil continually. A heart without Jesus cannot live. You need to have God as your focus of worship. You need to have the moral laws of God, the rules that God sets out for living, as the rules that you impose on yourself, not the church, not other people, but you impose them on yourself. You determine the rules you live by. And what do you submit to? What is your calling? What is your purpose? What is your reason for living every single day? And it should be God. God's call on your life. God's rules for your life, for living. And God as your object, as the focus of your worship. And if that's the case, then Genesis 6 verse 5 cannot be said of you. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth. But if those three things are in place from God, there won't be wickedness in your heart. Because just as sin renders it impossible to live a life pleasing to God, Jesus frees us from that bondage, from that limitation, and we can live a life that is righteous before God. Think about that, and let me call you out to that standard of living. What do you worship? What are the rules you impose on yourself? And what's your purpose? Have a wonderful Tuesday.